Well, good evening. This is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 2nd of December. And I just wanted to make a few little comments about Bitcoin, Ethereum and Litecoin. And of course all of the other tokens and blockchain coins that are out there right now. Because I'm sure, like myself, you've been watching the price slowly spiral downwards. Although it has been relatively stable. I mean, I know it has been a downward trend, but it hasn't at least bottomed out or gone to zero or this kind of stuff. Personally, what I still feel is going on is an incredible amount of manipulation in the crypto coin arena. And the reason for that is, well, of course, these big institutions, private investors, and even little people. There's lots of people who are day trading on this kind of stuff. And so this really changes the market when you have the speculators and large investors all plowing money and taking out money. But there's certainly some of the bigger players are acting in unison. And you can see this because when we take a look at the charts. Okay, so here we have the cryptocurrency charts, and you can see right away, first four coins: Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, Stellar Lumens, Bitcoin Cash. Look at these charts, they're virtually identical. Virtually, they're going up and down at the same time. EOS, Litecoin, look at that. Basically the same picture. EOS is a different pattern, of course, which suggests a non-manipulated coin. Again, you come down here, Cardano, Monero and Tron. Look, these patterns are identical. Identical. This is not possible. Okay, this is no accident. These are manipulated currencies, and these are the ones that the banksters will be concerned about. Binance Coin, Dash, IOTA, Tron, Monero, Cardano, Ethereum, classic different pattern. So when you see a break in the pattern, you know these are non-manipulated coins. Okay, so bear that in mind if you want to speculate. You know, if you don't have the stomach for this kind of churning investment activity to try and catch these ups and downs, and I mean, yes, you could make a lot of money trading like this, but it's unrealistic and you don't have your hands on the reins. Okay, the people manipulating, and you have to try and second guess what their plan of action is, what motivates them to buy and sell these currencies when they do, and that is very difficult to do. So if you are going to invest, look for a coin that is not following the patterns, that's got its own pattern, and then you can speculate. At least you know it's not being manipulated, and the prices are going up and down based on real things in the marketplace, where the people are really, you know, the underpinnings of this coin, this BSV, Bitcoin SV, is viable. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Hodl, 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 hodl. So that, to me, plain and simple, is the manipulation taking place in cryptocurrencies. Now, why would the institutions, the banks, the central bank, be trying to manipulate Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? And the bottom line is they are scared to death. They see the adoption of blockchain throughout government, throughout corporations, even in their own banking institutions. You know, they are adopting blockchain as a base technology because it eliminates fraud, and it also eliminates multiple handling, paper references, all of this kind of stuff. And it's secure, it's absolutely secure. You can encrypt that data, and there are several companies actually. Okay, and here's a little clip from an article that I came across. Let me see. It says, this is the direction we must take. There are now examples of small startups using the blockchain as a backbone infrastructure taking that direction. Smart Data, Enigma, Oasis Labs, and Tim Berners-Lee's Solid platform are all developing methods to, amongst other things, store personal information in a decentralized manner. Okay, and those companies will be worth investing in, because I can guarantee you everybody is going to want to secure their data. And when you see some of the articles that I found in my next video, I think you will completely agree that blockchain has a huge role to play in our future as far as protecting our data and that kind of stuff. So the banking institutions are scared to death because their whole system is based on fraud. Okay, I can't stress this enough. The whole trick of the fractional reserve system is that interest is not created with the principal or the loan. Okay, and because it's not created, it's got to go somewhere, and so it starts accumulating, and that accumulation becomes exponential growth on the part of the debt. Okay, and so I'm going to go through this with you just in a very simplified manner to help you try and understand this whole little problem, this whole little trick that takes place, because it's pretty slick. Okay, so we're going to pretend, for example, that I am a banker and you are the very first borrower. Okay, there's no other banking institutions in the world, there is no other money in the world. This is all the money we have right now is in my bank, and you want to borrow some. Okay, so according to fractional reserve, I can lend out money at a 10-to-1 ratio. So for every dollar I have in my till, I can lend out $10. Okay, so I have $100 in my till, I can lend out $1,000 against that. So you come in and, as luck would have it, you want to borrow $1,000. So we make the necessary arrangements, and I write you a counter check for $1,000. My $100 remains in the till because I can create that $1,000 from the $100. But I say, okay, you know, I'm taking some risk here. We need to add some interest. So just for sake of easy calculation, we'll call it 10% interest. So 10% of 1,000 is 100. So you now owe me $1,100. But wait a minute. I have 100 in my till. I gave you 1,000. That's $1,100. But now we need 100 extra dollars. That's $1,200. Where is that coming from? You see, it was never created with the loan. Now, it seems so obvious to see when you narrow it down to a ridiculous example on that level, because you know, it's so obvious that it just can't work. But when you have an economy with $30 billion, it's not so easy to see that trick going on, and that is why Canada, for example, we had a $35 billion loan that we took out against the Bank of Canada, and that loan has now escalated into virtually $1 trillion, $890 billion of debt accumulated, and that's that $100, that's the $100 that was missing, over $35 billion in the system. And so the problem with this is that as this starts to grow exponentially, you need more and more and more money to settle the existing debt. But the more money you create, the more debt is attached to that money, and it continues to accumulate. So the problem just gets worse and worse and worse until finally, you know, we've had, of course, several crashes in our history, but I think what's going to happen next is you're going to have a repeat of 2007, 2008, basically halt. Okay, that was the big deal. The asset-backed commercial paper, the ABCP, basically stalled. There was no overnight lending, and this is the oil that keeps the wheels of finance greased. It keeps the whole of our economies turning, is the ability to lend overnight to bridge loans, to bridge deals, to seal deals. And when that stops, we're in big trouble. And so last time, of course, the government stepped in and bailed out all of these institutions. recklessly, I think, in my own personal opinion, because here we are, we're going to go through the same thing again, except this time it's going to be bigger, it's going to be more protracted, and the government is not going to be able to bail out these institutions. And the institutions now have written into law bail-ins, so they are going to be coming after you and I to try and bail them out of trouble. And that is when you're going to see Bitcoin, Litecoin and Ethereum and some of the other coins that actually have some kind of tactile utility will start to fly, because you won't trust whether people will accept currency or not, whether banks will accept currency or not, or credit, because actually we don't have any currency anymore. Okay, and that's the big issue, and we need to transact. And so you will suddenly see people flipping into the established blockchain cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum and Litecoin, because they're pretty well up and ready to go. I think there will be some issues, of course, as you have this sudden adoption, mass adoption of these coins, but it is contingent on when we reach this stall point in the economy, and frankly nobody knows where that is. But the mathematics of this problem have not gone away. You cannot fool around with the mathematics, and it is absolutely 100% for certain this system is just going to reach a point where you just can't create enough money to settle the amount of debt that's floating around out there, which I understand in the derivatives market alone is $1.8 quadrillion. Okay, a quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. So we're getting into astronomical figures here. And so this has to happen at some point. So what I am suggesting, this is what I'm doing anyways, is I'm just sitting on this stuff. Luckily I did get into Bitcoin, and I was one of the earlier adopters, shall we say, and I don't have a lot, but I am still up on my investment, so I can kind of afford to sit and watch this go down quite a bit further. And in fact, I have so little invested actually in real terms out of my own pocket. It would go to zero, and I really wouldn't cry about it. You know, it's not like I'm gonna, you know, lose the farm or anything like that. So I am just going to sit and watch this. I know this manipulation has to come to an end at some point, because the banks are so overwhelmed with debt that they can't touch all of these bases. And that's what this manipulation is, I believe, is to try and undermine the cryptocurrency platforms, and it's not going to succeed. So sit tight, hold tight, hodl, 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 and keep yourself abreast of things. I know Cliff High has been off, but I still have great faith in Cliff High, because having listened to him talk on many subjects, I know that he is a very intelligent man, and I think his heart is in the right place. I don't think he would deliberately mislead people. Okay, and I think that's why he stopped churning out some of these cryptocurrency reports, because he is an honest guy. Anyway, we shall have to see what happens, but in the meantime, please, you take care, and we'll talk to you real soon. Oh, and please like and subscribe, leave a comment, be part of this conversation. I'd love to know your thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Okay, so you take care now. See ya. Bye.